And we're live. Hello, this is Jim Miller, your host of the Bright Business Talk Show. And we have purpose driven conversations about life and business. And today's show is brought to you by the Bright Business Project, where business owners, founders, and startups can get access to focus and traction so they can grow and scale faster. And we've been exploring various subjects about purpose driven business on this show and during our club meetings. And one of those topics has been AI. And it's been fascinating learning about the AI structures. And let me pull myself on here, see if I can get this to work. And so there's my guest, Mr. Choon Lee, with me. And let's see, I'm going to change the show. There we go. All right. Yes, forgive me. I'm still getting used to all this stuff. But so we're talking to Mr. Choon Lee. We've got a ton of experience with Mr. Choon Lee about AI. He's been in the software world for what, about 35 years now?
Something like that.
Yeah. And so, and you've been with AI for a long time, before AI was a thing. And you've been working projects, helping companies, and doing research and getting new things started and implemented. So you're making a dent in the AI world. So I'm very excited to have you join me on the show today.
Well, thank you so much, Jim. Such a privilege to be here, and maybe sharing some of my stories about AI and the journey that we have undertaken. Yeah, I've been in the software industry for over 30 years. I lost count by now. I worked in many industries,
Let me touch on your bio here real quick. Just
yeah.
So Choon H. Lee, CEO, managing partner, and founder. Choon's career stretches more than 30 years, conceptualizing, designing, and building software applications for educational, medical, legal, and real estate industries. Choon's area of expertise involves user experience, user interface design, and artificial intelligence. And he's consulted with companies such as GE Capital, Invesco, and Samsung. Choon is founder of the Abstra company and is leading his team members today in applications and designing in artificial intelligence and in pursuit of the Abstra mission. So tell us about the Abstra mission.
Well, the Abstra mission is about reinventing how we work. In many industries, we still work in a very mundane fashion. Everything is still manually driven. There's a lot of copy pasting going on, still paper driven industries, So we in our Abstra mission are focused on targeting industries where the processes turn out to be very mundane, laborious. And there are enough of them. Obviously, commercial real estate is one big example where everything's still manually driven. We in the AI industry have sometimes said joke. Many industries today work like in the 16th century, but with computer monitors. So it hasn't really much changed in many industries how people work. And till recently, people thought that's how it is. There's nothing you can do about this. And since the advent of AI being very popular and making such progress in the last few years, people have started rethinking how work is done, how work is accomplished. Tasks that was unthinkable to automate is all of a sudden fair game. And that is what we are targeting. That is how we are targeting those processes. And that's how I also personally got into AI, many years ago.
Ah, that's great. So let me jump right in. I've got a question. The big behemoth in the room about AI, I think, and one of the reasons it's become such a topic of interest is probably reflected in this question. You ready?
Yeah.
So AI, is it a friend or is it a foe?
It's both. It has to be both. It depends on what you make out of that, right?
Okay. So explain.
Well, it's the same thing. Like, is a knife a weapon, or is it a tool? Right? In the hand of a murderer, right, a knife can be a deadly thing, but in the hand of a surgeon, it can be life saving. Right? So I think AI is very similar. It depends on what you make out of that, and what the purpose of that is. And it is like so many other tools. It is both, right? It can either save life or it can destroy a life. It's true. It has been true since every tool that we humans have invented since the beginning of time, and it is also true with new tools like AI. And what it will be eventually, leaning more towards this or that, that's a whole different discussion. But I firmly believe it's both, and it really rests on the responsibility of people who are building AI products to make something that benefits humanity, in my view.
So what do you see as, if you had your crystal ball and you could see companies that embrace AI and see it as a friend versus those that see it as a foe right now? Where do you see their futures going?
Um, my view, from knowing how companies work and how fast the technology is changing, AI is unprecedented. We had many revolutions in the past, starting from auto revolution, for example, right? Computer revolution, internet revolution, mobile revolution. And us having a revolution in our human history is nothing new. What's new about AI, though, is AI doesn't have to be, can have a tremendous impact to our humanity, more than any other technology that exists before. And the reason is AI is maybe or can be one of the first technologies that is hardware independent. Because if you think about it, every revolution we had so far, right, from the cars to computers, everything, somehow dependent on hardware, on building something. When you build something physically, right, and it depends, then you're involving far many people, and the development becomes much slower. Look, for example, the internet revolution, right? The first email was sent late 1960s, early 70s by DARPA, right? So since that, a lot of people consider that as the advent of the internet. From that time, from 1970s till we have today, we enjoy a high-speed internet connection, that we enjoy with our phones and our computers, took almost 50 years, right? And the reason is because, sure, people at that time, 50 years ago, already envisioned to have a fast internet, but till you lay all the cables, all the fibers, and to all the routers and the equipment, till that has been developed, that took its sweet time. And because so many people are involved in every single equipment, every single item in that building, that infrastructure. Same with cars, right? People envisioned many years ago to have a fast car, but a car is accumulation of millions of complex parts, and each part has to be developed, has its own time where it matures over a period. AI is different in that sense that AI doesn't have to be, can be independent from hardware. That means if somebody thinks about something in AI, a new application, a new use, identifies a problem, you're not dependent on hardware. You can literally have it from thought to realization in a matter of months. That is really the unprecedented difference between AI and all the previous other revolutions we have experienced before. Sure, there are areas of AI where it's heavily hardware dependent, like especially generative AI, right, of creating movies, creating images. But there are many other types of AI that we can talk about later that is not hardware intensive. It's literally somebody thinks of it, I can build something, and literally a matter of months or weeks, you can have a new product. And all of a sudden, because of that product, a whole industry segment might be obsolete. That is the power of AI, in a way.
What do you see as this current state of awareness of AI, and how would the average business owner see AI today versus maybe your perspective on how they should see it?
I think a lot of people don't really understand AI well enough, so that makes them very cautious. They don't know what to do with it almost. They don't know how to embrace it. Many factors, obviously, because understanding AI is not necessarily easy. Also, it is not always well explained, I thought. The material that you see outside is really written for people like myself, like product builders. But there is really not too many people out there who really are able to explain AI well, I feel. And as a result, the awareness, many businesses, many companies are not maybe digging deep enough into the subject as they should be. AI moves so fast now these days. If you're not on board the AI train, if you will, you're going to be dinosaur in 3 years. It goes that fast. So compared to this internet, right? If somebody does not hop on the internet, you have almost 50 years to catch up. With AI, you don't have 50 years to catch up. You have literally 3 years. That's it, or 2 years, or whatever, right? And that is the power of AI. Everything is in a highly accelerated fashion. So you better jump on right now. It doesn't mean you don't necessarily, as a business, you have to implement AI right away, but you at least need to start educating yourself, your people, your team about AI. What is AI? How will this change not only our workflow? How will this change our businesses, our customers, our how we serve customers? How will this change the competitive landscape? All that you cannot just try to figure it out once other people are on board with AI already. You have to do this now. Now you have to start, understanding it so that perhaps in a year or two, you can maybe, implement an AI solution. AI itself is also growing. AI is not as mature of a technology yet, but it requires preparation time. And the better prepared you are, the better you will know what to do in a year or two, or whenever you are ready to implement an AI solution. But in most cases, I would say it's a mix between I don't want to deal with this right now versus in denial. I find that often too for many businesses. The proverbial putting the head into sticking the head into the sand and pretending it doesn't exist, and that's definitely not a good idea, I would say, at this moment.
The wait and see, but it seems like with the way technology has grown in the past, you could wait for a while and some new innovation would come and make things easier, and you could just top on to that. But this seems different. Do you agree?
Correct. There are several differences I see with AI. One, as I said, is the incredible speed. As I said, with internet, right? If you're late 5-10 years, you haven't lost too much. You can tag on with other people once other companies have adopted the new technology. You can hop on. Mobile technology also, right? Computer technology, that you had at least about 5 to 15 years tolerance when you can hop onto this technology, right? I know people who got a computer very late, 20 years later, once after the first computers were really sold, on the commercial market. So although they're 15, 20 years late, no harm really done. You don't have 15, 20 years with AI. It's either the next few years or you're a dinosaur, literally dinosaur.
What is it specifically about that what is it that's changed, or that AI is bringing to the table that won't allow you to get, if you wait, you're going to be out? What is it that's different about AI that makes it that way?
I think, as I mentioned before, it's the lack of several things. One is the less dependency of AI based on hardware in certain technology, in certain areas. So that means you don't need to wait for hardware to catch up. So I always like to compare this to an example. Say you're building a new car. When you build a new car, you need a new engine, right? So if you have a new engine, it's not enough just to build a good engine. You need other systems that have to work with the engine, a cooling system, right? So what if the engine is enormously powerful, but the cooling system doesn't work? It's not drivable. It's not usable, right? So there are many different accompanying technologies that have to grow with the main drive, with the main technology, in order to be useful, so that overall it becomes a car. But AI, it doesn't have those hardware components anymore, right? I have a friend of mine who is developing right now an AI that can replace potentially structural engineers. But think about that, right? In the past, if somebody wanted to undertake such a bold vision, it can take 5 to 10 years, right? But with AI, you can accomplish this. My friend can partially accomplish this in 1 to 2 years, right? So all of us in the role of a structural engineer that has been around in our society since the Romans, literally, is literally within a year or two almost obsolete. And it doesn't have to be necessarily every single structural engineer, but imagine our US market in 5 years needs I don't know, 40% less structural engineers. Now that definitely makes an impact to the US economy, right? So
Sure.
that is one. The other thing is AI has a tremendous democratizing effect. So that is a direct consequence of AI. In the past, there was a bifurcation between people who know the technology and people who don't. So in other words, say you want to be a software developer, right? You cannot just snap a finger and then within 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 months become a software engineer. You need years of training, years of schooling, and then maybe after 5, 10, 15 years, you become a very skilled developer. Now that has shortened tremendously through to AI because information is available so much quicker and the tools available to say software developers are so much better. You can become a very skilled developer in a very short time. And we see this even in our company very often. Some of my developers, they have 15, 20 years experience, and we see people catching up with them in a quarter of a time. All because the tools are better available. You can use, for example, ChatGPT to write portion of the code. It's not there yet that it can replace a developer, but even if you can use ChatGPT or some kind of an AI engine to say, write, I don't know, 30% of the code, right? That itself makes a huge difference in how many people you need in your team, how a software project needs to be built, how complex you can build it, what kind of expertise you need. It has a humongous impact already in how even we as product builders are working because of AI.
That all sounds amazing and disruptive for sure. And what I see is I'm a former manufacturing person, engineer, in process oriented. You're getting AI is enabling complete reformation or fundamental structure of companies, and that's what's changing. So it's like if you're not on board now and you're not fundamentally adjusting to the role of AI in your business, your competitors are, or those other people who are in your market, then you may end up getting the tail end of the market, or even being displaced totally.
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying by one of the futurists. He says, in a couple of years, there will be two kinds of companies with AI and companies out of business, right? It goes very fast. And if you're not hopping on, educating yourself and hopping on that AI train now, at least to educate yourself and to understand what this technology is about, and implementing even some solutions to it, it's going to be over very quickly. It's I don't know.
3 years goes by really quick. 36 months, boom, right?
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. There will be professions that existed for hundreds of years. For example, the legal profession, right, or even commercial real estate. Commercial real estate really has not fundamentally changed that much over the last, 50, 70, 100 years, kind of thing, right? And imagine there are certain professions in the commercial real estate industry that may not exist in a couple of years, that existed for a long time, and that is definitely earth shattering. I would say that some profession that existed for such a long time just overnight might disappear. In fact, I can tell you a great example. In our company, we have been creating explainer videos for quite a long time. And in order to create explainer videos, one of the most important things is to find a voiceover artist. So I've been fostering a good relationship with a voiceover artist, and I've been paying good amount of money to him, and been working with him for many, many hours. Overnight, his job is gone, because now with AI tools are so good now, you can create human voiceover to any video that you have for a fraction of the cost that it required a human to really literally speak in the voice to create a video. So overnight, his job was gone.
Amazing. What do you see someone getting into this, and say they own a company,
Mhm.
and they're looking to explore AI, and one of the, you do a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So
Mhm.
if you looked at the SWOT analysis for AI and putting it into your business, what are some of the risks associated with this for a small business owner to divert his attention or her attention to doing this, and potentially taking away from momentum that they're building in their new company.
Yeah, I mean, as mentioned, the AI technology itself is right now growing. So the first thing to understand is AI is not suited in every area. There might be AI solutions out there that's have been advertised, but it doesn't mean necessarily it's the right thing. But what's important is for a company that wants to adopt AI is to understand, okay, what is this AI technology about? How would this suitable? An AI technology that may not be suitable right now could be suitable in, say, a couple of years or a couple of months, right? And can very well happen, but by the pace that it's right now developing, it is very possible. I think this could happen. I think you can look at it in a SWOT analysis. Obviously, I think that's always important to do this. But also, what's important, I believe, is to look at what is the problem that you're really trying to solve. And that's really to focus on that. What is the problem? What is the business problem you're trying to solve? So, for example, we are developing right now a product that abstracts LOIs. It's a business problem. So in commercial real estate, many brokers, not all brokers, but many brokers have been spending since beginning of time abstracting, summarizing letter of intents. Letter of intents, as you know, is basically a proposal, right? And
Sure.
to keep track of those letter of intents, those negotiation that's going on, some brokers has been always manually copy and pasting and summarizing those documents. But and that can take a good 15, 20 minutes, of his or her time to do this for every single LOI, written. And imagine doing that in 90 seconds, right? So that's a business problem, identifying a business problem. And then the second element to think about is AI is not like regular software. Regular software is basically coding something and then you have pinpoint accurate results. AI is essentially a game of probabilities. So AI models these days, and there will be for a while, have inaccuracies. We call them hallucinations in AI. So sometimes those hallucinations are acceptable, sometimes they're not, right? So obviously, when you're drafting a marketing piece with AI, accuracy, sure, it's nice to have, but it's not the end of the world. It's not. But imagine you're building an AI engine that administers medications to a patient, right? It better be next to 100% correct, right? Otherwise, you're killing someone, right? So depending on application, the accuracy matters. And accuracy is a huge factor right now in AI. So you need to understand when you have plans, once you've identified a business problem where you've known from your experience, this takes a lot of time, it's a lot of manual work. Next thing you need to think about is how important is the accuracy there, right? Is it extremely important, or is it not important at all, or something in between? And depending on that situation, you can then think about, okay, what AI solution can we implement? How much will this cost? What is the cost benefit, on that? And it would be the right way to go to implement AI solutions in a business,
Well, it sounds like too, if I was a small or a company owner, and I was looking for someone to give me some advice to consult with, that your company might be a good place to go.
Yeah, we've been more than happy to, help people out to understand, to feel better, identify the problem better. There's so many areas that we're finding out that we people haven't even thought about how to implement AI. And we feel this also. As mentioned, I've been in software development for quite a while, and before ChatGPT came out, we've been happy if we find one new application. We've been corking the champagne. Wow, we found a new application, and we're happy if we have one per year. Now, since AI has been out, we are basically discovering a new application where AI can be implemented every second or third day. Which is it's incredible. So in other words, areas that nobody ever has even thought about using AI are kind of resurfacing, because people thought, okay, I've been doing this by hand for ages. I never thought about doing this any other way than by hand, manually. All of a sudden with AI, it becomes a possibility. So people are now sharing so many ideas with us, and new ideas come about that nobody ever thought about, using AI for. So I think we've literally just scratched the surface of what is possible with AI at this moment.
That's a great segue. Florin asked a question here. Let me post it up here. Florin, thanks for the question, Florin. He's of course the founder and author of the Bright Business Project. And as he asks, AI can significantly help entrepreneurs and business owners improve their decision-making process. And he's asking how.
Yeah, to understand this, let me back up a little bit and give you a quick overview how AI is organized, because that's one of the reasons people don't really, I feel, not fully understand how this would work. So there are many ways to look at AI, and AI is a huge topic. What I found was most helpful is to think of AI in three different categories, in three distinct categories. One is generative AI. Generative AI creates things. So when you ask ChatGPT, write me an email about such and such, create me a workout plan, or you ask DALL-E, draw me a picture, whatever, or you ask Sora to create a 15-second video about something. That's all generative. It creates something, right? That's type one. Let's call it type one. Type two is derivative. It's the exact opposite. Derivative means you're adding information, a document, a data set into an AI system. And instead of creating something, they extract key information out of that. A good example is summarization of, say, extracting key information from a bank statement, right? So you're building an AI model that extracts the balance statement from your bank statements. Obviously, you don't want anything created, right? And you don't want any mistakes there, but that's derivative of nature, The third kind is analytical. Analytical is basically when you take information from processes, from user behavior, and based on that data, you're making predictions and recommendations so decisions can be made easily, right? So good example is Netflix. When you watch Netflix, it already knows the next movie that you may enjoy is such and such. How do you think it knows that? There's an AI behind that, that observes the watching behavior of your streaming shows, and based on that makes decisions, makes a recommendation. So that the question that Florian was asking is about the third type. So, and the reason why the distinction is important is because the deployment and the error rate are very different in those three areas. So in generative space, in generative AI, errors happen, but errors are less important because you're in a kind of a drafting stage anyway. You are in the middle of writing an email. So what if one word is wrong, right? So accuracy is far less important. In the derivative space, accuracy is everything. I mean, that's the space we are working very often. When you're extracting, say, from a document, what is a tax liability? That better not be a mistake there, right? It's not good if your tax liability is 10,000, but AI makes something up and says it's 100,000, right? Or when you're administering medication because it understands something from a list of medications, right? It better be pinpoint accurate. Analytical is something in between. Analytical, the accuracy is important, but it cannot be always achieved. But it is really helpful to have that. And based on how you build a model, you can achieve, a decision-making models that's more accurate or less accurate. And it depends on how complex the model is. It will influence the pricing, will influence that also, and the complexity of the task, obviously, and complexity of the decision that needs to be made. But what the question that Florian was asking about decision making is really the job, if you will, the task of the third one, the third type of AI model that I was just explaining.
Okay, cool. Great answer. Thank you. So it sounds like AI can handle it, and you just need to decide what type of accuracy that you want to dial into it, and you start just rolling up your sleeves and getting things going, right?
Yeah, so for a business owner, I would say, depending obviously on the size of the company, right? There are different solutions you can build, right? You can either build so when you look at AI solutions, the first question that you need to ask is what AI model is he using? So you can build an AI application that runs in the back end, just ChatGPT, right? That's one model. Versus an AI application that runs its own custom designed AI model.
You've built those, right?
Correct. I built two engines so far, two models so far over the years, and I'm building two more at this moment, and I'm hoping to finish those two by the end of the year. So building those is obviously big pain in the neck. It's not easy to do those, but it allows us. So that's that advantage and disadvantage, right? If you use ChatGPT as your engine, right? Great thing is relatively cheap, but you're dealing with the limitation of ChatGPT. If ChatGPT hallucinates, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot just call OpenAI and say, "Hey, can you make this more accurate for me?" Not going to work, right? On the other hand, building a custom AI model is far more expensive, but you can customize it and train it according to your own data and to your own situation. If you have bank statement that needs to be analyzed, say, for example, by a financial institution, then you can just feed that AI model that we built just with those bank statements. ChatGPT is obviously not only trained with bank statement, it's trained with the entire knowledge of the human world. So it's going to have a lot of dilutions and a lot of information that is not helpful to you, kind of things. So that comes down to the accuracy question that I mentioned, right? If you don't care about that much about accuracy, because that's what the nature of the task is, yeah, you can use your ChatGPT. But if accuracy is very important, maybe not life-threatening like in medication, but let's say if you're abstracting information from a bank statement, yeah, if you get that wrong, there's a lot of damage, right? That's not good. Then, yeah, you may want to build your own custom AI model.
So from the reading I've done on AI, I've gleaned that there's, and I want to confirm this with you, that there's basically a three-legged stool. You've got the hardware, like you mentioned, the computers, and then you've got software applications, and the third thing is data. So
Correct.
those are you agree? Those are the three, like if you're to make AI a three-legged stool?
It can be. It can be. It doesn't have to be. So, for example, depending on what type of AI you're looking at, sometimes hardware is extremely important, sometimes it's not. So when you want to build an AI model that can generate, say, videos, right, like AI Sora does, that the ChatGPT brought out, OpenAI brought out, then hardware is unbelievably important. In fact, we're talking billions of dollars, many billions of dollars hardware investment that's required. And you can see how much OpenAI right now is burning through cash. I can assure you that the vast majority is hardware, is a processing time, computing time kind of a thing. So for those are very compute intensive tasks to train an AI model about videos. But if you're talking about, say, as I said, like a AI engine that is able to make predictions, say in Netflix or something, right? You don't need that kind of hardware, right? And obviously, you can take those analytical AI models and go to a million different directions. You can do sales projection, you can do prognosis about this, prognosis about that, right? So there's so much you can do with analytical AI that we haven't even scratched the surface on. But for those, you don't necessarily need massive amount of hardware. Whatever hardware already exists is more than enough to address them, right? So the hardware depends. Software is 100%. That's the other thing that we are finding out. I think one of the biggest mistakes AI companies right now are doing is to look at this as an AI project. And yes, it is an AI project, but what's equally important for the user is not only having a functioning AI model, but the software features surrounding the AI model. Right. So say we have a tool that does automatic abstraction. Yeah, that's great. And an AI tool can automatically summarize a document, but you need to organize those documents, right? This has nothing to do with AI. These are fundamental basic AI features that need equally to be in place in this application that needs to be equally usable to make this application usable for a business kind of thing. So the one biggest mistake I feel the AI companies these days are making is not paying enough attention about the software building 101, the features that the customer wants, and building them out and treat them as equally important as the software, as the AI features that the software is centered around. And the third one, obviously, is what you mentioned, is the data, and data is in the context of training. So the fundamental difference between traditional software and AI software is, in a traditional software, you spend time designing it, you spend time building it, you spend time testing it, and then you deploy it and you're done. Basically, right? As long as you've done a good job, you're done. You develop, you get paid. AI is different. AI, you have to do all that stuff. You have to design it, you have to build it, you have to test it, then you deploy it, and then your work actually begins, which is training. And how good a software is not only dependent on what a great job you've done coding wise, but how well it is trained. And the best example really is hiring a new person kind of a thing, right? So I call it the two software models, the instant gratification model and the hiring person model, right? So software used to be sold for a long time as an instant gratification model. It's like you going to Starbucks, I want coffee, boom, instantly, within seconds, I got a Starbucks in my hand, a coffee in my hand, right? Software was sold that way. You can literally go now and say, I want my Office 365, boom, you have it right there in the second, right? That's traditional software. AI is not that. AI is more than that. AI is basically, you have to download it, you have to get it, you have to deploy it, install it in your site. But then you need to take the data that you have and give it to train the system, the model. It's like literally hiring an accountant for your company. Sure, you're going to make sure that you're going to hire somebody with enough qualifications. But even after you hire a person with enough qualifications, that person's going to take a ramp up time till this person understands everything, how everything works in your company. And that is regardless how qualified the person is. And AI works a little bit like this. With AI, you don't necessarily get perfect results from the get-go. It requires a ramp-up time till the AI can perform up to your specification based on the training, based on the deployment. And that is the big difference between that. And our AI models that we have usually is not good enough for complex tasks to do it, to work instantly, like in the instant gratification model. At some point there might be, but we're not there yet.
Okay. So for a small business owner, where do you see the biggest bang for the buck or opportunities for them to start putting these tools in place in their companies and start getting that, this momentum started in the right direction?
I think for small business owners, it is tasks that would take typically a long time, say writing tasks, marketing copy task, right? In the past, just putting a marketing copy together that you may have to hire 2-3 people and you have to look over the text, for a long time, so writing, using AI tools for writing purposes, that's a good application. Also image creation, right? You may have to, before in my past life, before I've been in software, I've also worked as a brand developer. So when you build a brand, just looking for the right image can take 2 hours sometimes, for one image, So when you have a tool like an AI model, you may not have to spend 2 hours for one image, for the right perfect image for your cover page or for the home page or whatnot, right? So using tools like this can help, right? So marketing is a big area for small business owners where I think AI applications these days have play a large role. Process improvement is naturally another area, but it depends really what the process is. Summarizing text is another area that I see a lot of movement going on. So those are some of the main areas where AI tools become universally available. That you can implement right away in your business, especially as a small business.
Cool. Do you have any stories that you can share with companies you've worked with or maybe not worked with, but that are using AI and having some challenges, but breaking through those challenges and getting success?
Yeah, so one product that we're developing right now, as mentioned, is LOI abstraction. So that is one big area. Because
so that's general commercial real estate, right?
That's commercial real estate, correct. We serve mostly businesses. Our business is mostly B2B, not so much B2C. So our client customers are mostly commercial real estate owners, commercial real estate businesses. Not only, but that's the one big focus on ours. And we're developing different solutions. Right now, we're working on 11 AI products for different elements and different processes in this industry.
So it's kind of an a la carte thing where you it's custom to that particular business.
Correct. I think if we're going down to that level of detail, it's not there yet that you can just pick it up and download it. You can do this for certain applications, say let's marketing, as I mentioned, right? The applicability is wide enough there. But for many other applications, especially if you go to B2B, the penetration of AI hasn't progressed far enough. So you can just buy something off the shelf. Plus, as I mentioned, in AI, the concept of off the shelf really doesn't exist, not yet. maybe, I don't know, in 10 years, 15 years, long down the road, when enough companies have done this and everybody is up to speed on that, maybe then at that point we will have more custom-made software, if you will, custom-made AI software out there. But in the B2B space, I don't see too much right now ready-to-use applications there. What they're ready-to-use AI applications are mostly in the B2C space. As I mentioned, like you can buy software to create a video or write a text or create a presentation or something. So it's more for individual, I see, off-the-shelf applications, but not so much in B2B. There, it's just not, AI is not there yet, so to speak, you know.
Have you worked on any like manufacturing applications yet? Inside the
No.
factory?
Not manufacturing. That's hardware. So on that side, we have mostly worked on industries like commercial real estate, insurance industry, financial industry, and we're also now venturing also into architecture. So all those areas are where the processes are very manual, very laborious. You know, take a lot of time, kind of a thing. And there's so many applications we found in just in those few areas that I mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. I think another thing I observe these days is everybody's just paying attention these days to, you know, what's glittering and everybody's paying attention to those, you know, great movies and kind of a thing. And that's obviously a huge application in the entertainment industry. But AI application that nobody talks about, the boring ones, it's really what will drive the AI adoption. One reason why AI is not more adopted in the business is trust. Trust is a direct function of accuracy, right? People, if you look at the numbers, for example, LLMs, large language models such as ChatGPT's accuracy is about anywhere from 70 to 90%. So on average, about 80%. 80% is not bad, but not good enough. Right. So if 80% accuracy, people say, well, I have to double check manually. You need human eyeballs. Then people will say, why should I pay double? Why should I pay for AI plus and human eyeballs to double check this? I might just, you know, do this once and send this, I don't know, somewhere and it goes, send it to India or something, you know, where the labor is cheaper and get it done once and do it right. So in order for AI to be more adopted in business, it has to be more reliable in terms of accuracy. But getting AI system to perform more reliably, as I mentioned before, because of hallucination, is a huge challenge. That is really what we in our companies specialize in. Our specialization is to find ways how can we mitigate those hallucinations and wrong results, and we call them APS, AI precision systems. So our AI systems that we build deliver high precision data accuracy. You know, we're talking typically in the range of 95 to 100%. So it's not for every industry. As I mentioned before, not every industry needs that level kind of accuracy. But in industry, when either human lives are at stake or where the cost of getting it wrong is very expensive, right? Those are the spaces that we serve, and those are the spaces that we as a company target and go after and seek to serve. You know, and commercial real estate is one good area for that.
Excellent. I'd like to switch gears if you're okay with it, and I'd like to bring Florin on with us and talk about the future. We had mentioned at the beginning that you know, you are interested in exploring what's next, and that you are working on some things. Just checking, would that be okay? Bring Florin on and we can have a chat about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Florin, you ready? Ready or not? Let's see. I got to figure out how to bring him on here. There we go. Oop. Got your ears on. There we go.
Okay. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Choon.
Yeah, happy Monday, Florin.
Hi, nice
Thanks for joining us, Florin. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of change it up. We're having a great conversation with Choon, and saw you sitting there in the stage, so I figured I'd bring you in to say hi and meet Choon. I guess you guys haven't met in person yet.
No, not yet. But
So,
it's gonna
yeah.
be a pleasure. We're gonna meet in Irvine.
Probably. Yeah, we're gonna meet next week, Florin, right?
Yeah. This, if not sooner. But I'm very excited. What was my question about? My I I kind of say my challenge, personal challenge, is like to look. I'm looking for that magic formula where you can pour data into a system, and the system is going to model your decision making process to run to make the right decision in your business.
Mhm.
So that's why I created the business operating system to help me at some point in my early 20s to make the right decision. So I need to know. I control the marketing strategy. I control a different part of operations. Back then in Romania, I was running remodeling, commercial remodeling at some point, the company. So I wanted to kind of take the best decision all the time. And now with AI, I'm thinking how AI could help business owners or founders to make that perfect decision, to have a sequence of perfect decisions to help them grow.
Yeah, it is a good application to build, I feel like, because that's really what's two reasons why I think. One is that the subject lends itself very naturally to this, because AI, in a way, it's a series of decisions, right? In a
Right.
way. So that itself lends the subject very well to be implemented with AI. The second thing why I feel it's a good application is because AI, in a way, is a gigantic probability map, if you think
Right.
about it.
Exactly.
So and decisions are, in a way, probabilities, right? So if you decide path A versus path B, there is no guarantee, right? You're trying to predict something, right? So AI itself is a prediction engine, if you will. So for those two reasons, I think it is probably a very good idea, good place to implement AI. The question here, though, is what how successful such a machine will hinge on that fundamental question: how you prepare the data. The
Exactly.
data prepare, how you prepare the data so that an AI model can be trained, is going to be the fundamental key on this whole thing. Because the data, how you make decision, there are so many gazillions of millions of variations of slice and dice this. You cannot just throw everything to it. Then it will learn the wrong things, or it will learn not the right ideas. So how you prepare the data. So when you build AI models, in part, you're also kind of a data scientist, almost kind of a thing, but which is ironic almost, right? And most people think AI is a programming task. Yes, it is a programming task, but you also have to be very skilled in how to prepare the data so the data can be fed to the AI machine so it learns the right way, the way it wants you to learn.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
not only
that old thing, garbage in, garbage out, right?
garbage in, garbage out, exactly.
That hasn't changed at all.
And it's not only one or two, 10 or 20 data points you may need 20 million, right? 10 million.
Yeah.
So try to create a consistency of data across 20 or 10 or 20 million data points.
Right. But anyway, yeah, this is a big challenge for me, and I like to discuss more because working with entrepreneurs like you see most of the time. I say most of the time, businesses do not fail. We fail, the business owners, because we are taking the wrong decisions. Right? We're missing something, and sometimes I want to kind of not give people advice, but I wonder what should I do to help that guy, that person, to to generate traction, to have more, to generate the money, and to be able to grow the business, because I notice is a challenge.
Mhm.
Let's talk about. I have a case study. I have a friend of mine, a new member.
Mhm.
He has a small apparel jerseys for kids, with different sports. He's making all this, like I said, t-shirts and equipment, and he's somewhere. He's managing the production. He has to go after customers, so he's somewhere in the middle, is wearing
Mhm.
all hats. So he's looking for a certain amount of load of work. What would that be optimal? What he should delegate? What would be sequence of steps? And I was wondering last week if AI would be able to help or to educate, to give an idea.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. But again, as mentioned, it's going to be all a matter of training. How should we want to train this so it can give you the right answers to it, right? Building an AI model of that obviously will take time as well, but I don't even think that's going to be the hardest part of it. It will be difficult to build an AI model to do this, but it's definitely doable. And I've built models like this before in the past. But I think the key here is then how do you prepare the data so it can be trained? The preparation of the data so it can be trained, and how to frame the question so the AI model can answer it accordingly. That's going to be the key in a project like that.
Yeah, and that's why it's related to our club, our Bright Business Club here, and I hope we're going to talk more about this. So a group like Joseph said first time when we met, say, okay, you are kind of the board of advisors for my business. So to have a sort of AI operation application or something, and the board of advisor, we can help you to put put the right data in the app and right input, like to get a certain let's say AI generated advice. This is something that I have in mind, to be a blend between human experts, and then AI. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a big area right now. Anyway, right now, many AI systems are trying to become kind of those smart playing that smart advisory role. For better and worse. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not so good. AI is very good in regurgitating information and recognizing pattern. It's not necessarily very good in drawing conclusions, for example, right? So the good example, a great example I always like to use is how in baseball, right? How you call a ball that hits a foul post, right? Most people don't know that it's called a home run, right? Because every ball that hits the foul post is fair ball, right? But that, in order for you to know that, it requires implied thinking, right? You have to draw conclusions. And AI is not very good with that at this moment, kind of a thing. And for that application that you're trying to build, you need a lot of those. And that putting that in, teaching that is really painstaking work. We experienced this a lot also in commercial real estate. How do you call a tenant who only pays triple net expenses? This is a type of expense for tenants when you pay only triple net expenses for the first 3 months of a tenure. We call them free rent, right? But unless the document specifically says free rent 3 months, an AI model will miss that. Kind of thing, right? So it needs to be spelled out. It needs to be spelled out. The conclusion, the implication, the logical thinking, although it has made progress, is still lagging quite behind in AI models these days.
Yeah. Now I have a personal question. Jim, can I talk? I don't want to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No.
Yeah. What are your most used AI apps or things like this, and which one you're paying the most money, kind of thing, and which one is the most expensive investment AI?
Well, we've been building. We are just about to release the first AI application actually in the next couple of months, and our AI application that we've been building most is actually a lease abstraction. So lease abstraction is an application in commercial real estate. I don't know how many people here in the audience are familiar with commercial real estate. In the United States, every commercial lease signed by a tenant with a landlord is being summarized by hand. So, in the US, there are approximately about 1 million leases either signed or negotiated, right? Every shopping mall, every store, every single one signed is at some point manually abstracted by a human being. And that can take anywhere from, I don't know, half an hour to 3 hours, right? Imagine there's an AI model that can do this in, I don't know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds or something, right? Now that is definitely a game changer, right? So that is a tool that we've been working most on. It's very, very difficult. We are finding even with ChatGPT obviously hallucinates and gets half of them wrong or something. So then you have to deal with that kind of thing. But then we're building our own model. We have built our own model to build that. That needs to be refined. Obviously, it needs to be adjusted to the customer kind of thing. And what it turns out to be, though, when you build an AI model, this is something we had to learn in a way. When you build AI models, it's often not the technology that's the limiting factor, but it's the human. So basically, when you give a commercial lease to 5 highly experienced commercial real estate professionals to summarize, you get 5 different answers. So how should AI then know which one to do, right? If humans cannot decide what to do, right? We have a saying in AI, right? Artificial intelligence is no match for human stupidity. So it depending on what humans cannot, decide what the answer should be. How should AI know? Because the AI will only know whatever the human teaches you to do that kind of thing, right? So that turns out to be something that's a bigger challenge than the technical challenge, than the human challenge.
Yeah. And now a personal question. What app you're using almost every day beside yours? So when you open a laptop, where you go? What AI?
Well, obviously the commonly available AI apps, right? ChatGPT is one, obviously, right? You cannot ChatGPT or LLM models are universally used, across every part of our organization. Our developers use this to write code, right? So again, those are LLMs. So LLMs have this huge advantage. Okay, let me back off here. There are 2 types of AI. Two types of AI models that you can build. One is we call a general purpose AI. So ChatGPT belongs to one of them, right? General purpose AI basically means you can ask every question under the sun and it will give you some reasonable answer, some useful answer. The downside is it will hallucinate. It's not always accurate, right? The other type of application that we are building is called special application, special specific to a specific task. So abstracting a commercial lease is a very specific AI model that you can build. You cannot ask about a meal plan. You cannot ask about a workout plan. It only does one thing, but it does it really, really well. It tends to be usually more expensive kind of thing because it's specialized so well and has high accuracy. So when we do our work, we use the general purpose application like many other people. You use ChatGPT and whatnot. But we're not building a general purpose application. We're building a very specific application, narrow application that we are implementing and deploying to our customers in a very specific niche area that this customer will need, such as, say, abstracting or summarizing a commercial lease.
I see.
Very good.
Okay. And when you are not at work,
2 minutes left. Florin.
Okay.
And so I wanted to kind of wrap this up, but with one final question, if that's okay. And I wanted to do more time on this, but this is all good. What do you see, Choon, as the future? Where are you headed, and what kind of projects are you working on?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're working right now on 11 different AI projects. We are all excited about every single one of them at different stages. I see the future going is AI models are going to become quicker, more powerful, and more accurate over time, right? When that is a whole different discussion. We can talk about that for an hour. But they are taking more and more tasks that we humans thought, okay, I can do this only by hand, are almost all of a sudden in the realm of, oh, okay, maybe we can automate this kind of thing, right? Summarizing commercial lease, right? Nobody thought about this, automating this in the past because every commercial lease looks different. So how are you going to write a program to automate this, right? But now with AI, this becomes something that's possible. So those tasks that we never thought about automating, it becomes now possible to automate. And they will become more quicker, they will become more accurate, and they will generate also more content that's equally more accurate and more powerful. Movies right now, Sora is limited by only about 60 seconds, but imagine Sora can create, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. You are basically reinventing Hollywood in many ways. And so many industries up for a big shock. And my prediction is that the entertainment industry will be, perhaps it's possible that the entertainment industry will be a shadow itself in a couple of years. So we'll see what happens. But those are the trends that I see happening right now with AI at this moment.
Okay, very good. And Florin, if you could give a brief update on where Choon's going to be next week with the Bright Business Project.
Oh, yeah, Choon. Choon, Mike, Joseph, and we have another two wonderful speakers. Alice, I think, Alice Shin. She's gonna be she's a new addition to that event on October 17 in Irvine. I don't have exactly the address, but I can. I already sent an email with the location.
Okay,
But
great. Yeah.
it's in Irvine, across the street from the airport, the John Wayne Airport.
Yeah.
Just in case, if you're gonna have more people than we expect, like around right now, we are ready for 12 people, and we are kind of full, and we're expecting like 20 people. So then we have to look for probably to upgrade the location. But we'll talk with Joseph about this.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good problem to have. Thank you, Choon Lee, for joining us on the Bright Business Talk Show today. And
Yeah, gladly. Thanks for having me.
Last bit. This was fun. I've always loved talking to tech stuff and what's going on and what's happening in the future.
One more point that this is done. You're already over 1 minute, but I'm just saying right now. I'm sorry you couldn't. It didn't. We had some challenges with LinkedIn. Beverly is an AI enthusiast, so she sent me yesterday a message. She wanted so bad to talk with you, Choon. And we're building in the right business already. We have like a community of AI specialists, and I hope one day you might want to build and share this community.
Gladly. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, guys, hang on a sec. I'm going to end the stream. Say goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week, and that'll be noon Pacific time. We'll talk to another brilliant executive and have some fun chatting about the Bright Business Program and have purpose-driven conversation. So we'll see you next week. Thanks, Choon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Choon.
Don't leave, though. Hang on.